Okay, welcome back. Now, I decided to make this particular lesson. I started putting it together, and it was like a little too much, I think, for one lesson. All right. And so I'm going to make this a two-part lesson. Kind of to recap, what we'll call this basically is How Orbits Work, Episode 2. And where we left off, I want to remind you that we had that huge controversy in the world of science. And this particular discovery really is considered in intellectual history to be the beginning of the modern era. The beginning of modern science is this discovery that the Earth goes around the sun instead of the sun going around the Earth. And we have the geocentric model, which was the Earth in the middle here for several thousand years. And then it was through guys like Galileo and Copernicus that people started to go, looks like the Earth goes around the sun. Now, Isaac Newton settled the issue by explaining how it works. Okay, this next part you don't have to write down because it's in yellow, so you don't have to write it down. But just to recap, Newton settled the sun-centered controversy by explaining how it works. Now, a big part of that explanation was sort of people had a hard time believing that the Earth's moving because how could it be moving if we don't feel it? How could we not feel it if we were moving this fast and slinging around the sun in 100,000 kilometers per hour and swinging around, 600 miles an hour on the orbit of the Earth? Of course we'd feel it, but it turns out we don't. And Isaac Newton is the guy who explains why we don't feel it. It's moving, but we're moving with it because it doesn't take something pushing it in order to make it move. Once it's moving, it just moves on its own. Now, the reason the globe doesn't keep moving is because there's friction. If it wasn't for the friction, it would just keep moving and moving and moving. Well, there's no friction on the Earth slinging around in the vacuum of space. And so we're moving with the Earth, and the Earth is moving with us. And so we don't feel it, right? And so if you jump up in the air, the Earth doesn't spin out from under you. What happens is you just go along with the Earth and you never notice it. So, okay, he's going to jump up. Whoop! He doesn't even realize that he's moving. He's just moving along with the Earth. So that we don't feel it because of this concept of inertia, which is Isaac Newton's first law of motion. Now, there's two other very good laws of motion, but we'll just leave that for another time. But now I want to get into how he explained how orbits work. Because he not only discovered the three laws of motion, he also discovered what's called the law of universal gravitation. It's commonly referred to as the law of gravity. Okay. And it turns out it's an equation, it's a mathematical formula, which I'm going to show you later on in this lesson here. And kind of hopefully it'll make sense to you. I don't want to bog it down with math, but I do want to show you because really science, when you start getting into formulas like this, the laws of nature, they're usually expressed. The language of the universe is mathematics. And so that's kind of a pretty cool thing. So here we go. Part two of the lesson about Isaac Newton and the discovery of how orbits work.